Nick Vujicic said that if I fail, I'll try again and again and again. There is a crushing, silent weight that settles in your soul after you've been through the crucible of trauma, or experienced the crushing weight of loss, or found yourself adrift after major life setbacks. It's the feeling that your failures, the moments you fell short, the dreams that shattered, the mistakes you can't undo, are a final verdict on your worth. We look at the past and see a graveyard of what ifs and could have beens, and we convince ourselves that the pain of trying again is simply too great. We tell ourselves it's safer to stay on the ground, to remain in the stillness of our defeat, rather than risk the devastating fall all over again. But what if the profound, liberating truth, as Nick Vujicic so simply and powerfully articulated, is the exact opposite? What if your failure isn't a final destination, but simply a sign that the journey is not yet complete? What if the real measure of your character isn't found in a perfect, unbroken string of victories, but in the relentless, unwavering, and courageous act of trying again and again and again? This isn't just a philosophy for inspirational speakers, it's a profound, soul-awakening truth for anyone who has ever felt too broken, too scared, or too inadequate to begin. It's the understanding that the greatest tragedy isn't the loss itself, but the life unlived because we were too afraid to keep fighting for it. This demands a radical shift in mindset, moving from a passive resignation to a fierce, unrelenting celebration of the effort required to simply stay in the game. For too long, we've allowed our past to define us, to become the heaviest chain around our ankles, preventing us from stepping into the boundless possibilities of who we can be. We become architects of our own stagnation, building mental prisons out of regret and self-pity. We tell ourselves, I can't possibly keep going, I'm too damaged, or I've already tried everything, or I've already been knocked down too many times. These aren't genuine truths. They are carefully constructed excuses designed to protect us from the vulnerability of effort. But every moment you spend in this state of suspended animation, you deny yourself the very experiences that would build your confidence, hone your skills, and ultimately lead you towards your desired future. This is about cultivating an unshakable belief, not in a magic solution, but in your own inherent, untapped capacity for resilience and transformation. It's the kind of belief that understands that true power lies in the internal choice to keep going, even when every external signal tells you to retreat. The story of Nick Vujicic isn't just about his inspirational speeches. It's about the decades of unseen, relentless effort, sacrifice, and struggle that preceded them. He was born without arms and legs, a circumstance that by any conventional metric should have been a definitive sign of impossibility. A lesser person might have taken that as a definitive sign to quit, to accept that his lot in life was simply to survive, not to thrive. But for Nick, his hardships were a profound crucible for his legendary discipline and his unwavering determination. He channeled the pain and the hunger of his past into an insatiable hunger to live a life of purpose, to show the world that his physical limitations did not define him. He proved that true genius isn't an innate gift you are born with, but the relentless, unexcused pursuit of a higher calling, a fierce refusal to accept anything less than his absolute best. He chose to believe that the difference between a life of defeat and a life of victory was not his circumstances, but his will to keep fighting. He chose to fight every single day, every single rejection, every single failure, proving that the only real obstacle is the one you allow yourself to believe in, the one born from a lack of determination. The modern world, with its endless distractions and its subtle encouragement of instant gratification, often allows us to create a smokescreen of busyness and complexity, masking our underlying resistance to genuine effort. This lack of focus effort blurs our clarity, obscures our true vision, and disconnects us from our deepest purpose. When we allow the fear of sacrifice and hard work to paralyze us, our intentions become fragmented, our decisions indecisive, and our actions inconsistent. To truly embrace Nick's philosophy of fighting for your dream, you must cultivate a ruthless clarity about what you want and why you want it, stripping away every non-essential, every justification for delay. Your vision must be so vivid, your purpose so compelling that the sheer force of it incinerates the temptation to give up. Think of the immense pressure Nick faced throughout his life, particularly during the early days of his career. He was a newcomer in a field dominated by massive government-funded aerospace companies. His own employees believed it was impossible to succeed after so many failures. But for Nick, his mindset was one of pure, unadulterated recovery. His purpose to inspire others was a powerful catalyst, but his true vision was in the journey itself, in the relentless discipline of getting back to the drawing board, of training harder, of refining his designs, and of confronting the immense psychological pressure of a devastating loss. His actions in those moments were a masterclass in resilience, a defiant refusal to let the narrative of a loss become the story of his career. He proved that a true champion isn't defined by the number on the trophy, but by the fire that ignites after a defeat, by the unyielding commitment to keep fighting for a dream, no matter how long it takes. This is where transformative action truly begins. Not when you feel perfect or ready, but when you simply choose to begin, armed with unwavering intent. The powerful truth is that every day you postpone, every moment you hesitate because of a perceived limitation, is a day you deny yourself the opportunity to prove your own resilience. The ultimate act of self-love, especially after hardship, is the defiant refusal to let your past dictate your future. It's the conscious choice to show up for yourself, to put in the uncomfortable, consistent effort, and to make the necessary sacrifices, knowing that every step, however small, is a step towards liberation. This relentless fight for it approach allows you to channel your energy with surgical precision, eliminating the noise and focusing on the essential, propelling you forward with an almost unstoppable force, turning potential into tangible, measurable progress. The siren song of comfort often leads us to avoid the very discomfort necessary for growth and healing. We seek the path of least resistance, convincing ourselves that ease will lead to success, when in reality, it often leads to stagnation and a perpetuation of old patterns. But to truly embody Nick's philosophy, you must embrace the uncomfortable, a fearless confrontation with the very things you've been excusing yourself from. This kind of courageous engagement fosters unshakable resilience. Resilience isn't a passive trait, it's an active process, forged in the crucible of discomfort, hardened by the consistent decision to lean into challenges rather than retreat from them. It's the muscle that develops when you consistently choose courage over comfort, effort over ease. Consider the immense strength required to come back from profound disappointment, as Nick did after the failures of his early companies like China Pages. The conventional wisdom might have been for him to retire, to focus on his other ventures, to accept that his dreams were too big, too audacious, but his internal mindset was one of pure effort and commitment. He had a deep primal gratitude for the opportunity to push himself, to keep fighting for a dream that was bigger than himself. This gratitude was not for the failures themselves, but for the raw capacity to endure, to learn from every mistake, to get up every single morning and choose to fight again. He didn't dwell in self-pity. He embraced the uncomfortable reality of his new path. And in that process, he developed an unparalleled mental toughness and a renewed hunger that ultimately led him to a series of stunning victories, including his ultimate goal of becoming a global media mogul. He proved that even a history of failures, even a devastating loss, can be a profound part of a greater journey, a necessary crucible for forging the strength required to reach the ultimate prize. This "if you don't give up" philosophy fundamentally shifts your relationship with difficulty. You stop seeing obstacles as reasons to stop and start seeing them as opportunities to discover untapped strength, as crucial steps in the journey of transformation. Your willingness to lean into the discomfort, to push you past the fear of impossibility, is what ultimately differentiates those who simply hope from those who truly thrive, who emerge from the ashes stronger, wiser, and more powerfully aligned with their purpose. The insidious nature of the fear of failure is that it creates a comfortable cage, limiting our adaptability and preventing us from evolving. We become rigid, resistant to change, because change often demands stepping into the unknown, a place where effort is not only possible but likely. But to truly embody Nick's philosophy is to embrace relentless adaptability. It's about cultivating an internal compass so strong, a sense of purpose so unshakable that you can navigate any terrain, adjust to any shift, and innovate beyond any obstacle, transforming challenges into opportunities. Your willingness to shed old fears and embrace new risks, unburdened by the paralysis of what if it's too hard, becomes your greatest competitive advantage. This fierce commitment to growth fuels a relentless drive for learning. Every setback isn't a defeat, it's a lesson, a puzzle to be solved, a new skill to acquire. Every moment of discomfort becomes a classroom, pushing you to expand your knowledge, refine your strategies, and deepen your understanding of yourself and the world. Think of the evolution of Nick's show. From a simple talk show to a global media empire, he didn't simply rely on his initial vision. He embodied the fierce commitment to learning and adaptability, constantly refining his approach, driven by an unyielding purpose to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. His "if you don't give up" philosophy manifested not just in his spectacular cars, but in his unselfish dedication to his training, his tireless work off the ball, his dedication to the team. He was willing to sacrifice personal glory for collective success, understanding that the ultimate dream required a different kind of effort, a different kind of work hard for it. This unyielding dedication, this profound immersion in his craft, cultivates a wisdom that can only come from direct, intense, and sustained engagement with your chosen domain. When you truly internalize the fight for it philosophy, you stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating them, one arduous, intentional step at a time. Your actions become infused with a purposeful intensity, a quiet power born from the understanding that progress is always earned, never given. It's the fearless acceptance that the most profound triumphs often arise from the most unlikely starting points, when fueled by an uncompromising will to simply put in the effort and make the sacrifices required. So if you felt the crushing weight of past trauma, if loss has left you feeling hollow, or if major setbacks have convinced you that your moment has passed, hear this truth etched into the very fabric of Nick Vujicic's unparalleled legacy. Your dream is not a gift. It is a prize to be earned, a battle to be fought, a masterpiece to be built with your own hands, with your own sacrifices, with your own hard work. Your past does not own your future. Your current circumstances are not your permanent address. The only thing standing between you and the life you yearn to live is the courage to believe, the willingness to fight, even when the outcome is uncertain. Embrace the fierce mindset that declares, "My success is my responsibility and I will earn it." Cultivate an unshakable belief in your inherent capacity to heal, to rebuild, to rise, knowing that your internal power is boundless. Seek clarity not in waiting for a guaranteed outcome, but in the deliberate, courageous act of stepping forward into the unknown, allowing your path to illuminate itself with each committed step, driven by an unyielding vision of your highest self. Let your profound purpose be the blazing sun that melts away all doubts and illuminates every path forward, consuming any shadows of regret or hesitation. Embrace discipline as your greatest ally, the consistent, unapologetic choice to show up for yourself, to do the uncomfortable work, to take the necessary action day after relentless day, Cultivate gratitude for the raw strength you discover within yourself, for the wisdom gained through hardship, for the scars that tell your story of survival and triumph, and for the sheer privilege of being an active participant in your own magnificent comeback. Build adaptability by training your mind to embrace change, to pivot with purpose, and to innovate under pressure, making fluidity your ultimate strength. And commit to lifelong learning, recognizing that every obstacle, every moment of discomfort is a classroom designed to make you stronger, wiser, and more capable, constantly expanding your boundaries and pushing the limits of what you thought possible. The world doesn't need your hesitation. It needs your heroic action. It needs your effort. It needs the extraordinary person you are capable of becoming. Your greatest triumphs, your deepest healing, your most profound fulfillment await you on the other side of that courageous decision to fight, to sacrifice, and to work hard for it. It's time to stop wishing and start earning. The journey begins now.